All right, let's do this.
Hey, welcome everyone. Very, very excited tonight to introduce a good friend of mine. We met through this business. We pretty well started at the same time. We hit some cool milestones like 100 Club at the same time. We started kite surfing together. And we're just going to extract the goodness out of this guy. Lovingly, what I admire about Lorien, we came to the party with 10 years of personal development. We had a network within healthcare. Lorien didn't have any of that. We'll let you hear his story of his upbringing and struggles and challenges through that. But I just love getting the point across that it doesn't matter where you start from in this, that you can create incredible lifestyle. And let's hear from him. Let's bring this dude on.
Let's do it. Hey, Lorien.
Hey, what's going on?
So, mate, talk to us. Paint the picture of kind of your journey into the business and saying yes to this. So what did life look like? What was your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my journey, will be my 5th year with the Juice Plus company coming up in sort of August, September, end of August, which is really, really exciting. And 5 years ago, look, I was a dead broke personal trainer. I was massively in debt. I was spinning the wheels every week, and I thought that if I worked harder, like I was really ambitious, I wanted to get ahead, I wanted to do nice things, and I thought the answer to that was just working really hard. But unfortunately, what that did for me was I was sick. I was getting sick constantly. I was tired and I was burnt out, and I kind of realized that this might not be the answer, and there had to be something else out there. And I'll just correct Ant a little bit. I had quite a lot of personal development behind me. I mean, I'd read a lot of books. I'd been to seminars. Definitely not at the same kind of level as these guys by any means. But I kind of understood that there was this thing called wealth creation, and there was personal development. And what I realized is that I just had the wrong vehicle. I had this little 2-stroke engine that I was kind of trying to soar with, like get this little putt going to the moon, like to my hopes and dreams, to the stars. But that engine wasn't going to get me there. And so when I started to learn that there was this incredible profession and an amazing product, and that there was this vehicle that was more like a V8 or a V10 or a V12 engine, that if I worked hard and I applied myself and I learned, that in 3 or 4 or 5 years time, that it could completely transform my life, that it could set me up for the rest of my life, get me out of that debt trap that I was just choking in. Week after week, there's always 2 more bills than there were, more month than there was at the end of the money kind of thing. And so that's what really got me excited, because I was definitely had my enough is enough moment, and I just knew something had to change.
I think a lot of people on the line, I think, aren't afraid of hard work. And like you said, you had a huge work ethic, just the wrong vehicle. Obviously, when you came across the products, it was via a client of yours. You were very skeptical about them. I know as a PT, you get thrown stuff left, right, and center. What finally was enough for you to kind of take that closer look? How long did you say no for? And just to get people to think about, if they've got someone saying no right now, or who might kind of be putting up the objections, what do you do to stay in the game with someone to keep that relationship going to the point of, when they're ready to get started?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So how I actually first come across the products was through a client of mine. She was actually one of the leading cancer researchers in the country. And so I kind of come across it. I thought it was pretty good. I was really nervous if she was going to shut it down or not, because that was going to be the end of my hopes and dreams. And I just said to her, I said, hey, would you mind? Actually, no, that's not true. Sorry. It's 5 years, okay, just it's 5 years now. A client of mine got some really amazing results on the product, and I originally said, "Don't do it, don't take it." Sounds like, because she didn't know how to describe it. She just said it's like this detox thing, and I was just straight away wall up. But to my surprise, she got some amazing results. I didn't even know she was on the product. She took it behind my back, so I had to eat my humble pie. And when I took a really good look at this, I was like, wow, this is amazing. The world's in a health trend. People need this. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. Very skeptical about the business. Obviously, being a homeless youth, growing up on the street a little bit, I didn't live my whole life on the street, but I spent some time there. No one's going to rip me off. You know what I mean? Like I'd tried other, money making schemes or whatever, your mates ask you, hey, put this $5,000 in here, money in there. So I tried so many different things. I've always been a bit entrepreneurial, right? But again, I had the wrong vehicle. I don't know. And I don't think any of them were legitimate. So when I found that there was a solid product, a solid company, incredible mentors, I think I really understood how valuable it was when I finally got the vision and got over my skepticism, right? And what got me over that was, one, seeing my client get results when I didn't even know she was on it. And two, I started to attend some events. I went, caught up with my mentor, Adam, half a dozen times. I had 1,000,001 questions. It took a couple of, I don't know if it was months, but it was definitely at least 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at least of really grinding with questions. So it must have been at least 6 to 8 exposures, right? And then when I finally did join the business, and I could see that there was something here. By that stage, Linda says, hey, why don't you come? No, I said to Linda, I pulled her aside and I say, hey, Linda, I can see there's something here, right? Like there's something going on here. I don't have a work ethic problem. You just tell me what I need to do and I'll go do it. And it was like that. Like I'm all ears. Like you just tell me and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this thing. I made a decision that I was going to go all in. I was going to study. I was just going to do whatever it took to make it happen. And when I say I think something I also want to share in a minute, because that might scare some of you. I want you to understand that I was working 50, 60 hours a week as a trainer. Like I was tired, I was burnt out. So when I say I'm going to do whatever it takes, I wasn't doing Juice Plus 7 days a week. So let's just, I want you to really get clear on that. So, but I'll come back to that point that I want to make. But conference, right? I said, whatever. And she goes, all right, great. You need to go to conference. I was like, awesome. So where's conference? And she said, it's in Memphis. And I'm like, okay, yeah, right. I don't have the money. Number one, I can't leave my business because if I leave my business even for a week, my clients go elsewhere. I don't get paid when I leave my business. I've got 4 or 5 credit cards. There's absolutely no way I can go to Memphis. And she just said, what if you could? And I was like, well, if I could, I would, right? But I can't because I don't have the money, I don't have time, all the rest of it. You heard me first time. And she just said, well, I know that you can't, but how much would you need? Like, if you could go, would you? I was like, yeah. She said, okay, well, what would need to happen? So we broke it down, and in the end, I was like, hey, I could, maybe max out my last credit card. Maybe I'm thinking, okay. And she just said to me, you know what, the investment that you make, the time, the money, and the energy investment of going over to the US, it can potentially pay you back hundreds of thousands of times over in the years to come. And I think, that really stuck with me. And I just thought I had done some personal development. I listened to a few CDs. Brian Tracy always said, mirror and model success. And I first got into that when I got into martial arts. And honestly, that martial arts saved my life. But I think it was about 2021. I was teaching martial arts. I was still a trainer, right? And so my martial arts master said, listen to some Tony Robbins. So that's when I first started just playing. I remember driving my little crappy Sigma with this big exhaust on the back that made totally no sense, but sounded loud and cool, but the car just did not go anywhere. So it's just so funny. It's just so many years of just grinding. Like I said, I understood vision boards, I understood goals, I understood affirmations, I understood this, but I had the wrong vehicle. So I was really frustrated while I was sick and I wasn't a millionaire and I was busting my butt. So when I went to that conference, that conference changed my life. Juice Plus was the vehicle, but that conference is where I got the big vision. Like, it blew my mind. Juice Plus brain damage, right? And I remember sitting next to Linda. I was there and I was sitting next to her. She laughs about this. I was literally sitting there. I was like, I don't know how many times, maybe 10 times. I turned to Linda and I was like grabbing her on the shoulder or the leg or the head or something. And I was like, this thing's for real, hey? Like, this actually changes people's lives. Like, because it was that moment where I was like, oh my God, like, this is the thing that could save me. That could save me from the pain that I've been in my whole life. I grew up, my parents didn't have much money. I was addicted to drugs. I was a homeless youth. There were times where we had some money, like my dad, I had a surfboard, I had a bike. We weren't, I wasn't like, I wouldn't say I was completely underprivileged, but we didn't have a lot. But, there were times where it really wasn't easy. They drove rusty, old, crappy cars. But, we had a great lifestyle. We surfed and we lived near the beach. It wasn't expensive back then to live near the beach, fortunately. So, yeah. But that conference, I came back from that conference. Not only did I have the time of my life, like, honestly, I traveled a little bit, but I had just the friendships. Like, how could I put a price on, forming a beautiful friendship with Kate and Anthony? Like, who would have thought that was, and it's those friendships, it's those relationships that kept me through the tough times. That trip there, I didn't connect with everyone, of course, but the friendships that I did connect with, will be lifelong friends, and they've helped me in many other ways that I wouldn't have expected, and apart from the money. So if you're here to just make money, you probably won't last, because the money takes time. But if you're consistent and you're willing to invest in yourself, and the rewards are there 100%. I could tell you, I wanted to quit like 1,000 times. I've thought about quitting, not for a long time, because now it's worth it. It's been worth it for a few years. But I would say the first couple of years, I probably questioned almost every day whether this was worth it or not.
Can you just speak into that, Lorien? Because we went to the same conference as you. I think we literally got started within the same month, and I remember, we had a local event that we tapped into every week. Every Thursday night, you'd just done a huge day of training, and Anthony had been in practice. We were all exhausted. And at the event, we showed up because we were told we should, and we just did it, and we did it. Yet 5 years ago, there's many people that aren't standing anymore, and they did give up and they did tap out. And why are you still here? What were the habits? What's kind of kept that fire going for you even through the tough times? Because for some people, they do get really hard on themselves, and the money, like you said, what you can create is phenomenal, but it does take time. And what are the other things you did to really keep that fire burning so that you're still standing very strong, 5 years down the track?
Yeah. So first thing I want to just address a little bit here is that too many people think that they've got to do what I do to get where I am now. And that's just simply not true. You don't look at me and think, oh man, I've got to do all these lives and I've got to do all this, and your leaders, well, you don't need to do what we do now. you need to do what we did back then. And I can tell you, it was pretty freaking bad. Don't do most of it, but even if you did the best parts, you'd be rocking. Like, oh my God, you know, the Facebook memories comes up like even a year or two ago, but the ones like 4 or 5 years ago, oh my God, the photos, the selfies, the posts, like, oh my God, so bad. Examples of what not to do. But if you even took a fraction of what we did back then, you would still create success. And so why I say that is because I hear people say, oh, Lorien, I can't do what you do. And that's good. Like, don't do what I did. You probably go twice as fast. So, but there definitely were some key things that have helped me go the distance. And, you know, I think definitely one of them is having leaders and having uplines that did pick you up on a bad day. You know, there were definitely times where I went to Adam and I said, dude, I just don't know if I can do this, man. Like, I'm not cut out for this. No one's signing up. I'm not getting customers. I'm not getting teamies. Like, and he would just say, dude, we're doing it. Like, we're doing it, man. Like, I'm doing it with or without you. Love for you to come with me, and I believe in you. I think that's so important. And even if you're an SDVF, even if you've got one team member, even if you've got one customer, in my mind, if you've got a customer, you're a leader. That doesn't mean you've got loads of influence, but you're a leader, okay? And so you can bring that certainty to the relationship and just say, you know, I don't know, but I'm going. I'm taking this thing all the way. And I think when you have that, people are inspired by that. And it doesn't mean that you have to bang on with this big thing, but just to show that you're here and you're invested and that you see something and, you know, hey, it may not be for you, but I'd love you to come with me. So I think it's so important that we sometimes we give up on people too easy. Like, don't give up on your team members. And it might take, you know, maybe they don't want to go all the way. Maybe they don't want to earn $1 million. And that's okay. Everybody, whether it be a little or a lot, is making a difference. Okay? They're changing the world in a little way or a lot. And that's up to them. So just keep believing in people, because when they don't believe in themselves is so important. So a couple of things to get down to specifics. I think what martial arts had taught me, I used to give up on everything. You know, as a kid, probably up until about until I hit about 18, 19, 20, I gave up on everything. When it got hard, I'd kick the bucket. School, I got frustrated in school, learning difficulties. I had to repeat. It was the worst day of my life when they told me I had to spend another year. I actually made a mental decision in my head that I was going to wage war on school when they told me I had to, like. So, but it's not because I think it's just the style that they taught. And so I had a lot of stories that I'd made up about learning and school that didn't serve me through school. So, but what martial arts taught me is it taught me that if I persisted with something for a long time, you know, it's the longest thing I ever stuck at. I think I don't really train anymore, to be honest, completely honest. I just try to keep healthy and fit. But I made a decision that it was the one thing I was never going to give up. Like, I broke that decision. But I actually made a decision, a choice to move on from that cult. But that's okay. I joined another one. So, but back then, 16 years, I gave it 15, 16 years of like almost every day. And what it taught me is if I persist for something long enough, I'll eventually get good at it. And just because you're not getting the results that you want now, it doesn't mean you can't do this. In fact, in the beginning, we're going to be pretty sucky at whatever we start. But if we persist with it and we keep turning up and we keep learning, you can get good at it. So definitely, I understood the importance of going to events, logging onto the training calls. And I think when I got started, right, and again, coming back to people saying that, oh, I can't do what you do, Lorien, you're just like always at it. For starters, I'm not always, it looks like I am, but I'm not always at it. I do a lot of surfing, do a lot of kite surfing. Ant would know. Kate would know. So what are you doing here again? Oh, we're just going for another kite. We'll just do 2. But back then, I was working 40, 50, 60, seeing 40, 50, 60 clients a week. I had a boot camp to run. I was up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I was getting home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I was exhausted. Do you think I felt like getting on team training? Do you feel like I felt like going to an event on a cold winter's night at 8 o'clock? But I just knew there was something here. And if I was just a sponge, I was just like, some of you, I'm going to say this and, take this how you will, but, maybe excuse me here a little bit. I'm just going to say some of you are too smart. You're too smart because you think you can do it better, right? You need to be a dummy. I was just a dummy. When I came in this, I'm like, I don't know nothing about this. I was just a dummy. I was like, just teach me. I'm going to be a sponge. I'm going to know nothing. And I'm just going to turn up and I'm going to have trust and faith in the system. And somewhere along the line, I got smart. And I started saying, you know what, I think I can do this better. And I got into this thing of recreating everything. It was bad. I had this disease for quite a while, actually. I only recently just fired the improvement committee. I fired them. I'm like, what? Close enough is good enough. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that system better. I can do that. You know what I've learned? It's less to do about the system. It's not that much to do about the system. There's no perfect system. You need a system. But it's what you put behind the system that really matters, because we didn't have that much of a system when we started and we created some pretty awesome results. So the time and energy that goes into recreating everything is time away from finding customers and team members, helping people transfer. If it's not going to lead, this is my favorite saying, I'm like, is this going to lead to a new customer or a new team member? And one more thing, keeping a customer and a team member. If it's not going to lead to one of those things, then keeping a customer or a team member is probably going to lead to more customers and team members. Let's just say that's all in the same boat. I ask myself that because if it's not, it's a distraction. It's not building my business. It's just simply not.
I like that. Can I ask, how have you personally dealt with the opinions of others, as well as how do you coach your team through that when sometimes we can get caught up on our circle, our peers, and their opinions of us doing this thing, and that affecting our action because people get frozen?
Yeah, look, absolutely. The last time I checked, I couldn't pay my bills with other people's opinions. And if you wouldn't buy their lifestyle, why would you buy their opinion? Because that's what you're doing when you listen to them. I don't take relationship advice from my single parents. I don't take financial advice from my broke mates. So why would I listen to people that have never been where I'm going for advice? I listen to world experts. I listen to what Tony Robbins are talking about. I listen to these wealth creation gurus like Robert Kiyosaki. If you don't know these names, you should probably write them down. Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett. I'm going to say the name, but Donald Trump. Love him, I hate him. He's a businessman. He knows how to make money. He knows how to create wealth and lose it and make it again multiple times over. But all these wealth creation gurus and Richard Branson all talk about this profession being the number one way for the average human, us, to create an above average income. Didn't finish high school, addicted to drugs. Probably started my addiction around about 13 years old, right through till I was about 18. Then, but anyway, I struggled with addiction for probably about a solid 10 years. I struggled with addiction. Didn't finish high school, learning difficulties, dyslexic. I could go on and on and on how I'm not perfect. So I'd like to know what's your excuse. But anyway, get back to the subject. Is the opinions of others. It's probably the most hardest thing for us to deal with because we're actually hardwired to care what other people think. It goes back to our primal reptilian brain, because if I was facing a saber-toothed tiger one-on-one, he'd probably win. But if I had my tribe with me, behind me with their spears and picks, we'd probably be having dinner. So it was important for us to be in our tribe and be in our herd. And here's the thing, right? Probably the number one success principle that I would share with you is choose your herd, your tribe carefully, your environment. We're a product, largely a product of our environment. Okay. So I started to hang out with people that had the beliefs and the values that I wanted to adopt. So instead of hanging out on a Friday afternoon with my mates at the pub, I started hanging out with Adam at the pub and Anna at the pub, but there were different conversations happening. And so the herd will always keep you in check. They'll start to nudge you and push you. Have you ever experienced a time where your mates have all gone, hey, we're going for knockoff drinks Friday afternoon or something similar? And you've said, oh, you know what, I'm a bit tired, not tonight. And what happened? They all just like turned on you like savages. What are you doing? Come on, you idiot. And they drag you out, right? Okay, but that doesn't happen in people that are high performers. They're actually the other way. Like, what do you mean you're going out on Friday night? Go home and do some work. Go read a book. Go invest in yourself. Go learn. So they keep you in check the other way. So you got to work out where is it you want to go, and then start hanging out. What's so important? Proximity is power. Now, my 5 best mates are Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, who else? Kerwin Ray. They're my 5 best mates. I hang out with them probably more than I hang out with anyone else. So I don't have to actually be so cool these days with technology. I can pump my brain full. You know, Eric Thomas, he's the man. He's the man, Eric Thomas. But anyway, the opinions of others. And you've all heard this stuff. Like a lion doesn't, care what the opinions of sheep are or whatever. And this just, when you really think about that, so true. So you're either going to surround yourself with people that are going to pull you back, or you get to choose to surround yourself with people that are going to push you forward towards your hopes and dreams. So it's not about like I have people in my life that are very negative. So I just limit the time. It's not about just cutting them off and saying, hey, you're completely out of my life because you're negative. It's about just maybe being aware of limiting time with those people and spending more time, which you're all doing right now, right? That's what you're doing right here, right now. You're spending more time with the people that have the beliefs and values that head in the direction you want to go.
I love that. On the weekend, Lorien, you shared a really awesome analogy. I'd heard it before, but the way you described it, I think was just spot on. And that was the recipe, following that master chef and going for, trying to create what they've done, right? Can you just speak into that around how this applies to this business and the way we do things?
Yeah, I don't even know where that came from. Hey, I just put my own little twist on it.
That's awesome.
I know. I was like, put that one in the memory bank. That was awesome. But it's so true because I think so. Let's talk about this. Who's ever seen let's talk about beautiful cake. Think of a beautiful cake that you've seen online or in a shop front window. We've all been past the cake shop and gone, oh my God, isn't that amazing, right? Who's got that mental image in their face? And then they've got the recipe. Oh, to make this cake. My kid's going to love it. You make this cake. and it's nowhere near, right? It's nowhere near the cake. You know, why is it not like the cake in the shop front window? Now, I know what you're going to say. Many of you are going to say, okay, maybe you didn't use all the ingredients. No, I used all the ingredients. I followed the directions perfectly. I had the little weigh machine. I was weighing everything. The same bloody, it wasn't the oven. I used the same oven, right? Use all the same things. But what was missing? What was it? Drop in the chat right now. What was missing? There was still something missing there. There was still skill, heart. Yeah, a bit of heart, bit of love, skill, all great answers. Yeah, there's something else. Okay, skill. Yeah, skill would be, so I would say experience. Okay, experience. You know, what's the difference between a kid that can ride a bike and can't ride a bike? It's experience. Only so many times I can tell you, just can't sit on the bike and push the pedals, right? But some kids get it, some kids don't. So it's experience. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't create some results and you won't make some money. It doesn't mean that. It just means that it takes a bit of time to master your craft and bake the cake. Now, something I want to add here, which I think is really powerful as well. Okay. That what happens if you've been in the kitchen? Like there's only so, if let's say you spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the kitchen, use all the same ingredients, what's going to happen? You're probably going to have a very similar cake. Now, if there's one thing missing, what if there's one ingredient missing from this cake and you spend 3, 4, 5 years of hard work, sweat in the hot kitchen, what happens? Are you going to have the same cake? You're not. You're not, right? Because you weren't using all the ingredients, the key ingredients. And in this business, we have a recipe to success. Unfortunately, I often hear people say things like, that's all good that you could do it that way, but I'm just going to do it like this, right? Or I'm just going to do it like that. And yeah, maybe if you're a 100 club leader and you've been around for 5 years, you can start tweaking some things, playing with some things. But, you know, doing it like any time before that, I don't know how that's going to go. Just like it might work out, but I don't want to leave my success up to hope. I just want to follow the proven, tried and tested system. And it's not that complicated. It's the 5 income producing activities. But I think that some of the things, and I think, you know, Kate and sort of alluding to this, is that some of those have been a little bit lost lately. I mean, the power of events, the power of the training. It's not like when you feel like it, like, yeah, I'm consistent every now and again. I'm consistent once a month. Look, for me, I was just like, I'm doing this thing, and I just immersed myself in it. And again, I wasn't on live in the beginning, but I was listening to their trainings religiously until eventually I'd freed up the time. You know, all the reasons that you can't get onto team training, all the reasons why you don't have the money and all of this, you know, in time, if you follow the recipe, all those things won't be a problem anymore. Time won't be a problem anymore. Money won't be a problem anymore. So, yeah, I don't know.
I love it.
I remember Thursday night so vividly. You know, you and I, we didn't miss one in, I would say, 3 years. But I'd had a big day. I'd been in practice from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m., would rock up to the event 7:30. I'd go by the little Thai shop and that was dinner. And often Lorien would be so tired, he'd fall asleep. It was in Linda's house and he'd be asleep on the carpet and then kind of come to and hop up and do his part of the event. Like there's no secret sauce there. We put in.
Yeah. For those that are new, you know, to the team, Lorien, can you just share the 5 key areas, you know, the 5 key ingredients to growing this business and doing it well?
And again, sometimes I think that we make it sound like we were just grinding 24/7. It wasn't that way. We just did a few of the key things religiously. Like one event a week. Oh my God, you know, I couldn't do that. I couldn't possibly leave the house for 1 hour a week. That'd be insane. Oh, I couldn't get onto one team training. And sure, do more. Awesome. If you want to condense time, do more. But we're just saying that, you know, kind of like, you know, could you get onto 1 a week? All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is too overwhelming. I'm like, if that's too overwhelming for you, I don't know. I just don't know. I can help. You know, you could go to uni for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and study a degree that costs you $40,000, $50,000, which, by the way, you can never get rid of. It's the only debt you can never get rid of, and not even earn a cent. Or you could turn up to 1 class a week, do some training, do a little bit, you know, like, I don't know. What are the options? So let's look at it, right? So, you know, the 5 income producing activities, and I mean, there's different versions of this stuff, and you can talk about social media, but if you want to just talk about the rock solid foundations, number 1 is having conversations every day, taking a genuine interest in people and caring. I like to talk about compliment, connect, and care. Compliment someone, make them feel good. Connect with them, make a connection, however you do that, online, offline, whatever. And number 3 is care. And I think that's a real key part. And I've got to be admit, I got distracted. Like, we can do these automated systems, and we can like, you know, add them all to groups and do all this stuff. And we kind of lost the care factor a little bit. So I'm getting really big back on the care. How do you show people you care? Ask them questions. That's it. Ask some questions. Just care. Compliment, connect, and care. If you get nothing out of this training tonight, compliment, connect, and care. So number one, just have conversations every day. And I think that at some point you need to find your 20 seconds of courage and actually ask someone to say, hey, I've got no idea if this is you. Come from the heart, right? You don't need a script book. Just come from the heart. It's all perfect. Come from the heart and get out of your head and just say, hey, would you be open to taking a look at what I'm really excited and passionate about right now? No idea. And honestly, that has been the best invite. I think it's one of the first invites Linda taught us. And I've just come back to that. So that's number one. Number two is living the mission, sharing the journey. And whether that's Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, face-to-face, the old school face-to-face method, right? But however you do, share the journey. That's your post, that's your stories, whatever it is, share that. Share that with people. Share it with the school teacher. Share it, whatever it is. If you don't understand social media, no worries. People have been creating success in this business long before Facebook existed, long before MySpace, would you believe? I know, we're going back to the dark ages. So that's number two, is just share somehow, right? Number three is following up. And following up doesn't mean just like, hey, have you watched that link yet? It just means like, hey, Sam, last week you told me that you're really keen to, lose 5 kilos or get some extra energy or make some extra money, whatever it is. Share the value, okay? Just checking in, how you going with that? Where you at? Just checking in. Again, just personal can say that's a direct follow-up, but indirect follow-up would be more something like just go and comment on their page, on their page, or go and comment on their story or something, and keep in touch. I know, like these days, people need to be exposed to this 15 to 20 times before they make a buying decision. I don't have many people signing up on the spot. In fact, it's like winning the lotto. It barely ever happens. But I know that they're in my pipeline, and that over 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, those people are going to be ready at some point. And so I like to send them a birthday message, a friend anniversary message. Just simple things like that to keep in touch. So that's number three. Number four is obviously events, 2 types of events. You've got team training, okay? Again, I just say one's kind of like your bare ass minimum. You could make some money. If you didn't get onto training, you could probably make some money, have a little retail business, get your products cheaper. But if you want to make more money, if you want to go a little bit further, if you'd like to do big things, then you might want to invest a little bit more time in your study. In your skill development, right? And so the events, and I think what's awesome is that we're at that Thursday night religiously. These days we've got the Super Saturdays. There's maybe an event in your local area. If there's not, why don't you create one? And it doesn't necessarily even have to be the Juice Plus event, but just get in front of people, get together with people, share stories. I think it's so, so powerful. And the last one, which is probably the most important, is customer and team care. And again, I've kind of gotten to the point now where it's just relationships, whether it's potentials, whether it's friends, whether it's my team, whether it's my customers. To me, they're all relationships. I'm not thinking about customer care. I'm not thinking about team. Oh, I'm going to do team care today. Oh, I'm going to do customer care today. I'm going to do my friends care today. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just caring on people. I'm just keeping in touch with people. Do you know what I mean? With people, with human beings. We kind of lost this thing. So be a professional friend collector and become a professional relationship builder. And if you nurture those relationships with your customers, with your friends, they'll turn into potential customers, they'll turn into customers. And if you do a great job there, they'll turn into raving fan customers. What do? They refer other raving fan customers. They turn into team members. They turn into raving fan team members. And like the cycle continues. And then they turn into Kate and Ant and best friends and, whatever. So team and customer care. And there's so many different versions of it, but whatever it is, do something. Can I share something that's we've implemented recently? I don't want to. I'm sure you've got your own version of this, and you guys have probably been doing. In fact, this team. One thing I know about this team is that this team has some of the best customer retention that I've even ever heard of. So I should probably be taking notes off you guys. And tomorrow night I will be. But what I would say is I'm going to be embarrassed to share this, but we've actually really implemented a wellness tracker. So they're tracking their, I'm sure you guys are all over this, but I've made something up really simple, very duplicatable that we get someone to fill out when they first start. And then at 90 days, you know, the old questionnaire that we used to have, yeah, I probably never used it, but we're doing that now. So it seems dumb now. Pretty simple, basic stuff.
We just got a question for you, Lorien. How long do you keep working on customers who say they're interested, but months on, they still don't seem ready?
Well, it depends what you mean by working on them. Hey, you ready yet? Hey, I got a special. Hey, I got a special. Hey, it's the end of the month again. And guess what? We're doing this awesome special again at the end of the month. I don't know how much care factor that has to it. So, you know, hey, it's great to create some urgency from time to time. But my idea is create a relationship with this person. Get to know them. I don't know, go have coffee, go have a drink. I don't know, whatever. Send them a birthday message. Doesn't have to be that intense. I just keep in touch with people. You know, net worth is net work, right? Great success mentors taught me that the size of your success will be the size of your network. And by the way, before you give me this whole thing about I don't have a network, I wasn't born with a network either. Kate and Anthony weren't born with a network. We created one, right? Now, there's lots of social media influencers that never had a following. So, like, don't give me that excuse. And I think that you can grow a network. And it's never been easier before. Facebook makes it so freaking easy. It says, hey, you friended this person a year ago. You probably haven't spoken to them a year. So we're just checking if you actually really like this person or what's going on. And so you can actually pick up, and it takes like 10 seconds, send a little video or whatever you want to do and just go, hey dude, what's going on? Haven't talked to him for ages. What's up? And then they give you another opportunity because they know that most people are slack. And they say, hey, it's such and such birthday, bozo. You should probably send them a message. And so I do that at least twice a year. I'm letting someone know that I appreciate them. I'm grateful to know them. And if I don't see them any other time than that, so be it. But that's the minimum. And if I can do that with a couple of thousand people a year, and every day I cut the ones, like if I don't want to have a relationship with someone, and if they're not responding to me, I give them a chance, right? It's just one time they don't respond. Oh, that's it, you're off my list. I see these posts, right? I know I'll go on tangents, but we're on a tangent. But I see these posts like, oh, if you're not interested in buying Juice Plus or being part of my business, I'm going to delete you off my Facebook. I'm like, you out of your mind? You just made the biggest mistake ever. Sure, I cull my list. I unfriend more people than I friend every day, but because I'd rather have 1,000 raving fan relationships than 5,000 people that I have no idea who they are. So relationships, again, just focus on relationships. Stop pestering them about the product. They know you're doing Juice Plus. If you're consistent with your post, if you're consistent with everything else, keep in touch. Next time they get the flu or their kids are sick, they'll think of you. So hopefully that makes sense.
I love it. It's awesome. Lorien, it's been such a ride to be on this journey with you. I think about when I first really met you at the airport when we were flying to Memphis, and there's all these crazy excited people. I'm like, oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into? And what's happened since then is just nothing short of mind-blowing. And seeing you, your beautiful fiance, your little man, and another bub on the way, the life that you guys are creating, it's pretty spectacular, and it's awesome to be on this journey with you and to have you literally down the road as a neighbour as well. But just the growth that we've seen in you, the change in life, you have really put to work. Like it hasn't happened overnight. You have gone to work on yourself. You've been diligent, you've been consistent, and you've shown up, and the results that you've got in your business and your team is just the perfect example of that. So it's such an honor to have you on our training tonight. And do you want to say anything?
Yeah, the surf was cranking this afternoon. And I reckon it'll be on in the morning if you want to come.
All right, well, there you go.
Sounds good. Love it.
Guys, obviously, we've got conference just around the corner. Lorien spoke a little bit about that, but just do what you can, even if you feel like you can't right now, to say yes and just to show up for you. The ripple effect of what can happen is pretty insane.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me on. I sincerely appreciate it. And, I hope that you all go out and implement this stuff, because knowledge isn't power, action's power. And look, if you did nothing else, if you just took action on those 5 income producing activities in time, you're going to get it. It's going to happen. So be patient, keep sharpening your sword, and look forward to seeing you all at conference.
Awesome. Thanks, Lorien. Appreciate it.